Hi, how are you going?
Hey, Rebecca, how are you?
Great. I just wanted to come in early and check that I can share screen and that everything's going to work fine.
Yeah, let me share the screen with you.
So remind me, how many people should I expect to be talking to? I mean, I'll
Somewhere between 12 and 20.
Oh, beautiful. Lovely. And talk to me about, like, most of them are going to have their own brand they've been working on recently or for many years, or what's the kind of
mixed
spread?
bag. So what we have here, we have a number of people who have specialty food brands that they have been running for some number of years. One of them, Mrs. Ruth's Jam, has won the Good Foods Award from the San Francisco area for the last 3 or 4 years with best of category. So she's very successful. We have a grass-fed beef operation. It's been doing it since 2000 and does a fair amount of distribution in grocery stores. Is trying to figure out how to do e-commerce.
Okay.
We have some startup beauty brands from minority women.
Okay.
Handful of those. I'm just trying to think off the top of my head. I never know who's going to show up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there's any really de novo startups that I'm aware of, but most of them are selling something, whether either products or services, in some form or fashion.
Okay.
And, they're almost all of them are headquartered in a rural community as opposed to a city. So you'll see that. And you can ask people, to talk. It's no problem.
Oh, great.
It's very informal. This is not like Harvard or something where it's all structured, and it's a little bit easier.
I mean, good. I only do informal. That's the only mode I operate in.
Okay, good. Yeah. So so we'll just let them gather. These are all folks who are actually working full time. So what ends up happening sometimes is they might miss the class, but they'll look at the YouTube tonight or later.
Oh, great.
So it kind of has legs. And the other problem, we have some problem with some folks who they just don't have very good internet where they live, their farm or their rural area.
Amazing, of course.
Sometimes not great. So
That's all right. I mean, those the first thing you need to do live streaming is good internet. So, maybe even live stream isn't the right solution for them. That's fine.
Well, it's interesting because so what happens here is even if people don't have it at home, there are places they could go and do it, right? Like
Okay.
a community center or
Oh yeah.
something nearby. So they all kind of manage, but I tell them, you can have an e-commerce website even if you don't have internet at your house. You can still host it somewhere and you can kind of figure it out. But in general, the people do have access to internet, and it's something that in North Carolina is an evolving scene. There's always a discussion about the digital divide, and more of the rural areas are finally getting it one way or the other. So,
I mean, I was just staying on a ranch in Montana, and they had incredible internet. It's like I think they'd laid fiber across the state, and I was staying in this remote cabin, and I had better internet than I would in the city, like in LA City. It was incredible. I couldn't believe it.
Where were you? Where was the nearest town?
I guess Big Timber and then Bozeman.
Okay.
Big Timber was probably the nearest town, I would say. We're just about 15 minutes from Big Timber.
My brother-in-law lives in Whitehall, and he tans buffalo hides for a living.
Yeah.
So in the old Indian way, he uses the original way, no chemicals.
Wow.
So I've been out there to visit him, and it's a different world. But he lives not too far from Sheridan, Montana, and not too far from Big Sky, if you've heard of that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm a little bit familiar with Montana, very, very little bit.
And I went to my first rodeo over July 4th weekend.
Wow.
I had the best time. It was so much fun.
So someone could literally say to you, this is your first rodeo.
Yeah. My friends had a great time with that joke. And then now when I go to my next rodeo, I can say this is not my first rodeo.
Yeah, and it's really a rodeo.
It's really a rodeo. But I'd never heard of what a rodeo clown was. That was a brand new term for me. I learned a lot that day. It was great. And people are so talented. Like, there were 14-year-olds doing tricks on horses. I mean, and that wasn't part of it. But then also, like, there was barrel racing. And goodness, they're so talented.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it.
It's like, it's just a different world. If you live in a city, in the United States, it's very unlikely that you're exposed to that stuff unless you do what you did and travel to an area where that kind of thing happens. But
right.
Yeah, so we live. My wife and I, we actually live on a farm that's been in her family since the 1600s. So we have horses and all kinds of stuff going on here. And I'm a city kid. I don't know a damn thing. All I do is cut the grass and feed the horses. That's my job. And cutting the grass takes about 8 hours a week.
Wow.
Crazy.
Do you spread it over 2 days, or you just get it all done on a Saturday?
Well, it's funny. I was traditionally doing it like Saturday and Sunday, but we've had so much rain that the grass is basically growing every day. So I basically have been cutting almost every day for about not every day, but like 3 or 4 days a week, because I cut it and I go back out there the next day and I look at it and it needs it again. So, it's kind of crazy. But anyway, so let's see who's here so far. Grant is here, and Grant is my intern and kind of the main guy to keep stuff going.
Great.
We have Kyle Bateman. Kyle, why don't you introduce yourself to Rebecca?
Well, hi guys, how's it going?
Good.
Hey, good.
Are you a peanut? What was that picture? Wait a second.
That absolutely is a peanut.
Wow, I'm impressed.
Well, if you like nuts, you'll love opals.
Okay. I knew you were nuts, but I didn't know literally.
We've got a big kick out of this, and this has been an ongoing joke for a long time. And so I had threatened to pull it out at many markets and events, and I finally did. And now we're riding the mileage on it for sure.
That's fantastic. Well, I think, Rebecca, I think we have a potential host here wearing.
I was about to say, we need to put that in front of a camera.
Yeah, well, I think he would be, he'd be a hit on POPSHOP Live.
So, Dennis, I'm like you. I've got, I'm more for radio.
Yeah. Ooh. Well, I don't know. When you just get something that covers your head as well as your body, and then you're all set.
I'll work on that.
Cheeky.
Work
Yeah,
on
just
that.
like, just even like a little mask, like a black mask, you could be the mystery Mr. Peanut or something, you know?
Well, I tell you what, I'm interested to see how this next event goes for Tom when he's got Chad Husky with Chad's popcorn.
I don't know
He's got
about that.
one. Yeah,
Tell me about that. What's all
it's
that?
coming up the 13th. The 13th at 1 o'clock, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I watched their show last week and was really intrigued for a little over 2 hours. So I'm anxiously awaiting to see how that interview goes, because Tom's invited me over there to work with him to maybe present our stuff there. And I like to be on the other side of the camera. I don't like to be that guy. So
Yeah. Now I'm having a hard time here. Who is Tom?
Tom Arnold.
Oh, John Arnold.
John, I'm sorry. Why do
Yeah,
I
yeah.
keep
I was
calling
like, well, who the hell are we talking about here? Okay, so you're talking about Cherry
Tom.
Orchard and
Yes,
and all.
yes.
Okay. Now,
Yep.
now
I'm
it's
good.
now it's making. For a while there, I was totally lost. Like, what are we talking about here? I
No.
missed another party I wasn't invited to. Right?
Yep. Hey, I'm having a week like that. You know, a square peg trying to fit in a round hole.
Yeah, yeah.
Week.
Okay.
So,
All
but
right.
anyway, looking
thank
forward
you.
to today's class. Thank you.
Yeah. Patrick Robinette is on here. Hey, Patrick, just say hello to Rebecca and tell her a little bit about your grass-fed beef.
Yes, sir. My name is Patrick Robinette. I'm owner of Harris Robinette Beef and Micro Summit Processors. We raise grass-fed, grass-finished beef, and then we direct market, direct distributor, direct to consumer distribute our products.
Okay, fantastic.
Amazing. How's your I guess you freeze pack it. How's your shipping provider been? Good?
Patrick?
I'm sorry. Yeah.
How's your shipping been for your frozen beef when you ship it out? Is that something you guys do?
Yes, and we it's not frozen. We ship it out fresh, and we ship it through UPS, and they have absolutely no problems getting it out for us.
Fantastic.
That's great.
And we're in fact, we'll be in touch with one of your salespeople today about being on your platform.
Well, you
fantastic.
you talk to Rebecca. She's my contact, and she'll take care of everybody that I work with.
My team are awesome too, Patrick. You're in good hands.
Okay. I don't trust anyone but Rebecca. Sorry. but that's just me. That's just me. Okay. Well, I think what we'll do, we'll get started because we're running a little bit over. And Grant, just keep your eyes peeled. More folks join us. But you all probably feel like you're tired of hearing me talk about POPSHOP Live. What in the hell is POPSHOP Live, right? Well, we've learned a lot. We learned yesterday, and we've learned from John Arnold, who Rebecca knows and is on here with his son Craig, the star of the show on POPSHOP Live. The only thing I've ever bought that I had no idea what I was buying was Craig sold me microwave pork skins. I'm not making this up. They were pork skins that you put in the microwave, and I sent them to my brother-in-law, who he is an addict on pork skin. I wouldn't touch one with a 10-foot pole personally. He called me up ranting and raving at how great these pork skins, and he's a real connoisseur. So I just had to call Craig out. Thank you, Craig, for selling me whatever the hell I bought, and hopefully I'll buy more. Okay. All right. So today we have with us Rebecca Cahill, who's really a superstar in this emerging field of live streaming commerce. She's been nice enough to answer my dumb questions and deal with the ever number of questions that come out of Eastern North Carolina. And despite all that, she's still willing to talk to us and share what she knows and answer your questions. So do not be bashful, because Rebecca is not bashful, right, John? So anyway, I'm going to turn it over to Rebecca, and hopefully it'll work. Go
Fantastic. Of course. Thanks for the introduction, and thanks everyone for coming. I'm so excited to talk to you today. Obviously, I've been working with Craig for a while now. I actually have some clips of his shows to show you all in case you haven't seen them. So I'm going to embarrass him a little bit, which is exciting. But just to introduce myself, Rebecca, I've been working at POPSHOP for about 6 months now, but in technology and marketplaces, working with food brands for a long time. I was actually at Uber Eats, Uber's food delivery company, for the last 6 years. food and small business are very close to my heart. And I think the most exciting thing about POPSHOP is, you already have great products. You're already working out how to get them to new customers online, in markets, in whatever distribution channels that you have. And we just want to be another one of those. I think the difference is sometimes you can find that like websites are quite flat. You can't really tell a story when you're selling on a website. Customers can't ask you questions. And for anyone who's done kind of fairs or markets, the kind of level of interaction that you have at a market is so different to what you have on a flat website. I would actually think about POPSHOP more as though you have a booth at a market and you're able to interact with customers, but you just happen to be doing it from your home or your warehouse or wherever you decide to put a camera. And so if you've done any of that work at fairs and talking to customers coming by, actually you're going to be fantastic on this platform because you've already had a bunch of practice. That would be my opening line, which is if you've done this at fairs and markets, you've had a bunch of practice, and you know exactly what to do. I feel like, Craig, in your first show, you just started and you just knew exactly what you were doing because you'd done it. You'd done it in some way before. It just was a little different because the way it was being done, but what you were saying wasn't that different. I'm just going to share quickly just what it looks like in case someone hasn't had a chance. So we have an app and a website. So at any point in time, you can go to www.popshop.live, and you'll be able to see all of the shows that are live and all of the shows that are coming up at any point in time. So in this row, you can see what a live show looks like. So let me click in here just to kind of give you a sense of what we're seeing here. And then we're going to play some sound for a little bit.
Because look at her. She's adorable. I love her. I love her. We got some Sailor Scouts.
Okay, so straight away here, what are we looking at? Okay, so we're looking at this is a person based in Washington DC who works at Third Eye Comics, and her name's Mackie, and she's walking us through a series of items in her store. At any point in time, I can see what items she's talking about and what she's selling. So over on the right here is her catalog, and I can click on any of these items and I can actually buy them live in the stream. I don't have to leave. I don't have to write comment 102. I don't have to do anything. I can just go and look at the catalog, click an item, and I can buy it. My credit card details and my shipping address will all be in here. I can also ask a question. I can type at any point in time. I can interact with the host. What's the bet? We can't hear her, but she's probably saying hello. So she's
welcome. We're just doing some statue things.
So I'm actually I have many accounts. This one is my Rachel account. So people don't know it's me. They tend to act more normal, not knowing that I'm from POPSHOP if I come in as Rachel. That's why she said Rachel, not Rebecca. Craig, there's a little secret for you if Rachel ever joins your show. But so you can see everyone who's joined the show. You can also see purchases. So anytime someone makes a purchase, it actually animates on the screen. What's exciting about that is everyone in the room can see what other people are buying. So there is a bit of social buying to this. You can see what's popular, what other people enjoy. We find that people in the chat talk to one another. If they've said, oh, I've tried that rub before, you should definitely get that. People will interact, etc. The great thing that Mackie's such a personality.
Like Dragon Ball GT. I've not watched it, so I don't know. I can't say like, oh, you're totally right for liking or for hating this thing.
So she can tell a story about the product, about her experience watching Dragon Ball Z. It's very interactive. And you just don't get this with a flat website. Okay. I wanted to pause there at this moment just to see if there are any questions from the room before I go on and explain anything else.
This is probably a dumb question, but is there an opportunity to rotate it so that it's a horizontal picture instead of vertical?
As in this image rather than because it's done, everything's filmed on your phone. So all you need to host a show is an iOS device. So we currently run on iPhone or iPad. And it means holding the screen up this way, which is why the screen is kind of the iPhone shape size, rather than a horizontal landscape. So I think the answer to your question is it's just vertical.
Okay.
Okay. And now this works for lots of different formats. So I'm obviously showing us a toy store here, but then we have so many other different types. I've got Cherry Orchard Foods here just to show you. This is, I mean, I've got lots of videos. This is probably one of my favorite ones.
Let's go to spicy. Spicy. Buffalo ranch, spicy spinach, habanero wildfire, cheesesteak and ale, cranberry jalapeno, honey garlic sriracha. There's too many good choices.
So good. I've got lots of different clips. I'm going to play some more. This one shows you what a purchase looks like. Just to give you a vision with your kind of products. Let me hit play.
Gallon canister, Tupperware pitcher. Pour your bottle of wine in there. Fill the bottle of wine up with the same part water. Pour the water in.
Oops, my internet's gone bad. Anywho, so lots of different clips. And one thing that's interesting that we get everyone to do before is how, one question I commonly get is, how do people turn up for my show? How do they know that it's happening? What we get everyone to do is about a week before the show, we get you to upload a teaser trailer, kind of like a promo video to let everyone know that your show is going to be happening. So here's an example of, I'm going to put the sound on, advertising the show.
The next farmers market is going to be a special one you're not going to miss. We got a special guest, Chad Husky of Chad's Carolina Corn is going to be here. You're not going to miss it. It's going to be a lot of fun. He's going to have all of his products. We're going to be talking about popcorn and among other things. So tune in, next farmers market, August 13th, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, 10 a.m. Pacific Time. See you there. Hey, folks.
And that's a great plug.
Hi, y'all. It's me, Noelle.
It's a great plug for what I wanted to talk about next, which is we've created a space for food in the app. Oh, hey, Joe. I just saw you there. So we have a farmers market on the 2nd and the 4th Friday of the month. And we get all of our kind of food and beverage brands to go live then. It's at 10 a.m. Pacific time, 2nd and 4th Friday of the month. And then we advertise around it and we direct all of our food lovers to that event. It's a great event to be part of. As Craig knows, like, you can go live anytime outside of that. You're not constrained to that event. But we do really recommend it because we send a lot of people who are interested in buying food products to that time slot. And then we can market around it as well. What else to tell you? We have a dashboard that sits behind all this. So whilst you film everything on the phone, you can manage your entire store and everything that goes into it in this dashboard that we provide you. If anyone uses Shopify, we link to Shopify, and it'll remind you a lot of Shopify actually. So this is a dashboard of a coffee seller. You can see the shows they've done. In this show, they sold, they had 51 viewers, they had 890 comments. We can see how much they sold during the show. And these are all the different orders that they sold. So we're able to see this specific order. We're able to view the tracking, everything that we might want to do associated with the order. In this portal, you can also add products in advance. So all the products you want to talk about, you can add them as a listing. Quite easy to create a listing, and away you go. I guess the one thing to share is it's free to sign up and join. We want as many people to try this as possible. We just charge a 6% service fee and the 3% payment processing fee because we do all the payment processing. So let's say you sold $1,000 in a show, $910 would go to you, and we would keep 9% of that $1,000. Trying to think. I'll pause there. Any questions? What comes to mind?
I'll promise I won't keep talking. But you mentioned, I think to me, that it's possible to embed the app on a person's website.
Yeah.
Could you just talk about that? And my question really related to that is, if I embed the app on my website, would it only show my show or would it show all of the shows?
Yeah, great question. So yes, we have the option to kind of the screen of your show, you can actually embed into your existing website. So I can show you an example. Here's a store, Japan LA, that sells toy products from Japan. So this is their regular website. I can actually go to a section of the website called POPSHOP Live. And here they've actually embedded their POPSHOP view. It's just their store. So just their store page. They're not live at the moment. This is their preview video. So it'll play the preview video. And as soon as they go live, this will actually switch over to showcasing their live stream. So this is great because if people are coming to the website, they can see it too.
This is awesome. I didn't realize that it was this good. But if our class members are part of, let's say they're part of the farmers market or Craig and John's show, if they were to embed it, then that would show on their website. Is that the way it would work, or how does that work?
Yeah, they would need to just embed whatever channel they were going to be appearing on. So, if Joe's was going on Craig's show, he'd probably want to embed Craig's channel rather than,
Yeah. Okay, that's really cool.
Yeah.
All
What
right.
other common questions I get at this stage are how long should I stream for? That's a common question. The farmers market runs from 10 o'clock. It typically runs for about 2 hours, but you don't have to stream that whole time. We often say we recommend like a 1 hour show. It can be harder sometimes if you have fewer goods or fewer items to show. In that case, what I often recommend is have a 15-minute script and repeat it a couple of times. It's definitely that people come and go like they would in a typical market. So someone can stay and watch 15 minutes and then leave, or someone can catch the end and then you repeat. If you do a 15-minute script 3 times, 45 minutes will fly by. Craig has so many SKUs that he can go for 2 hours and probably could have kept going. The great thing about a long show is the way shipping works is if you're okay for your food to use a regular USPS 2-day priority, we have a shipping option where customers pay just $5.99 and they only need to pay that once. And then anything else they buy in the show will get combined into that $5.99 shipping. That's great because then if you have a long show, they can keep buying and adding on top of that shipping throughout the course of the show. Joe and I have been chatting about his meat products. Obviously that needs special packaging and has special shipping. We have an option where you can actually charge per item different shipping, especially if it needs special packaging or you prefer to be able to arrange your own, especially if it needs special refrigeration or something like that.
Okay. Can when the show is finished, let's say I've embedded it on my website and the show is over, can people still buy stuff from the event when it's no longer live?
Yeah, so between shows, you can feature 10 products that customers can still buy even when you're not live. So there is the option for that. We do find that 98% of the shopping happens during the live show, but there is the option to buy between, especially if people want to restock on something or any of the above. We find most of the shopping happens live. It's because people want to talk to you. They want you to see that they bought something and be part of the community of buying. So lots of it happens during the live show.
Okay. Is there any opportunity to use Afterpay or Affirm or Klarna, any of that kind of stuff?
Yeah, so we don't have, buy now, pay later or split quad pay at the moment. I've heard a couple have asked for it though from different sellers. So it might be something we look into, but at the moment we accept credit card, Apple Pay. I think they're the 2 main methods. Not yet. I don't think we take PayPal. I would have to check that.
Okay.
I would have to check that.
Okay. Well, Joe, I know you have questions because I know you.
Well, Craig and Rebecca have both faced the onslaught of the Inquisitor. And so
God bless you all, as I
say. I know, they've done a great job. No, I think the embedding of the video on the website, I know, Rebecca, you shared that with me, but I hadn't seen that before. I think that's cool. But to be clear, I think this was kind of touching on to Dennis's earlier question, probably coming from a place of comparing POPSHOP to Common Soul, but is that the video, when shown, yes, live, it is marketable or able to be monetized. But I'm assuming that if you're playing some previous show or whatever video content that isn't live, whatever Craig says in his video or what have you, you cannot transact off of that. Is that true?
Between shows, you mean?
Yeah. So if I embed Craig's show on my website because Booze Dogs is partnering with Cherry Orchard, what have you, and the show's over and it's still showing the video play from last week or whatever, a consumer who visits my website and sees that video playing, there's no like interaction with a message field or anything to make to make that show active?
Got it. I understand now. So, for example, this is, Craig, Cherry Orchard Foods isn't live right now, but he has a preview video live for his next show. And that exists in the app and people can look at it. And you'll notice here that he's featured 10 products. So I can actually purchase them now in between stream, and I can ask questions. What flavor is your favorite? Oopsie, I'm using English spelling. Let me change that. Your favorite jam. I'm using lots of English spelling.
That's all right. We do.
Ask Craig how many strawberries are in a strawberry jam.
Jam. Craig. Oh my gosh, my typos here. Terrible. What is your favorite flavor of jam? Have I done all the US spelling? Am I good?
Yeah, we can read English.
You can translate.
Yeah.
And so I can interact even just on the preview video, even though it's not live.
But the interaction, but those responses to those questions obviously are going to be delayed because
because it's not live.
Yeah.
It's kind of when he'll get a notification that I did that, but it's kind of dependent on when he replies. Yeah. Again, like it's not as good as like when he's actually live and your ability to interact and ask questions.
No, that's for sure. No, that's really good though. But then those there you go. She responded. Nice. But then the thread of that interaction, even though it's on a, for lack of better terms, a static video, when he responds to it, your comment and his response is, I guess, saved on that thread. So if someone else comes to the website, they can see the history of the dialogue. So it looks like, so it helps promote that engagement sort of feel to it.
Exactly. Yeah. Sometimes in videos, people will say, can you comment what you'd like us to bring to the show? Or if there's anything you want us to do, people use it to get suggestions. It will exist as long as this is the video up. As soon as he goes live, this will disappear. And then, Craig is like best practice. He, as soon as he finishes a show, records his video for the next one. So there's always something live. That is like best practice. But, then the new video is up and this will, there's something about like this disappears into the past. You and I spoke about getting recordings of shows because you wanted to exist as like marketing on your Facebook, and that's something we can do.
Yeah.
Okay. One of the things that I find really interesting that Craig does is spin that wheel. Can you talk a little bit about the fun aspect, the gamification, whatever the right phrase is?
Yeah, it's something that's really organically developed. I must say, like, our sellers are so creative. I have to give all credit to them for coming up with just different ways to get their community to stay and watch the show for longer, to reward them for lots of purchases. To add a fun element to the purchasing. I think that's, there's some question as to whether the future of shopping actually has a lot more fun and game to it.
Yeah.
And so different sellers are doing lots of different things. So one example is if they hit a certain number of purchases, they can spin the wheel and that gives them a coupon for their next purchase. Other people do, every time someone purchases, it gets them a spot on the wheel. And then every time the wheel fills up, comic books often will then do a free comic book giveaway. So they give away a $3 comic after 10 purchases. And it works. People will definitely buy 5 comics in the hope that they have a 50% chance of winning the spin. I'd say it's a great way to enhance the show. It is certainly not a requirement or necessary, especially when most of this group is going to be doing their first show. I always say on your first show, baby steps, get comfortable with the platform, host the show, get used to live video, and don't feel like you need to be so fancy in your first show. But I'd say like Cherry Orchard is a veteran now. They've must be on more than 20 shows. And so he obviously feels very comfortable inserting different new ways to keep people coming back and engaged. Because the longer they watch, the more they're likely to buy. At the end of the day, the formula is keep them on the stream as long as possible, because then they're more likely to see something else that they might want to buy, and they've already paid that shipping. So, there's kind of feel like it's, the shipping's free at that point.
Okay.
Yeah, Dennis, I've been trying to elevate Craig's celebrity status. I asked him to put song and dance on that wheel so that if we can see him do a tap dance, maybe some magic tricks or something. He's very talented.
I was hoping that there'd be a wheel that when it lands on a certain color, Craig is replaced by a Vanna White lookalike.
Whoa. Listen, he does a great job. He is
I know. I'm just,
curious. He is strikingly handsome. That's why he's been so successful. It has nothing to do with products.
Oh, come on, guys.
strikingly handsome. I don't know about that one, but you know, that's cool. Okay, so I know I was going to ask Karen Haycock, who is a pecan grower and farmer and seller, and have her step up here and see what she thinks.
Well, I missed the first 15 minutes
Okay.
of her presentation, so maybe I can get to see that later. But I'm assuming this is a time that you can sell your product or a number of them. And now we just have one product, which is in the natural form. So you have any suggestions?
So tell me more. So you've got one single SKU. What kind of product is it? So it's pecan. Do you sell them in certain quantities or?
Natural, because it's in a 1 pound bag, or you can you know, sell them in 10 pound bags, whatever, of pieces or halves.
Got it. And it's just you just buy them in the pound bags at the moment. There's no other different types of.
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. So one thing I find when you have just a single product, it's going to be harder for you to talk about an hour just about one product, right? Like that's the immediate concern is, gosh, how do I fill an hour? That seems hard. So what I often recommend then is what I call a content show. So one way where you're kind of selling, but you're not selling, is actually to have an interview where you and maybe your grower or someone just in your business have a conversation about, this is how we grow, how we've been doing this. We've been owning this farm and running it for this number of years. If you're interested in the health benefits, you know, or this is recipes we use them in, you have more of a conversation, and that is the show. And then the pecans are there available for sale, but you won't probably do it like Craig style where you kind of hold up the bag and show the bag, you know, because you only have the one product. So I would actually be advising you more towards, can you do an interview? Can you do some kind of Q&A? Can you show them the process? Can you like give them a tour of the property? Something like that. So it's a bit more of a content entertainment show where you also happen to be selling them, because that will give you, you know, you always want to try and do a longer show. So that would give you 30 minutes easily. I feel like I'm sure if I interviewed you about your business, you and I could chat for 30 minutes easily. And so that's what I'd be encouraging you more towards.
Yeah, kind of the nutrition and cooking, maybe prepare something on,
I think also the branding, the story of your farm,
right?
You know, you and your husband. I mean, this is what we talked about, you know, in creating content for your brand and brand story. You're going to get people that are really interested, like, wow, those people have 120 acres of pecan trees. That's really cool. And, you know, they may end up asking you lots of questions about, you know, what you're doing and how you ended up there doing that. So,
we have a nursery too. So we sell pecan trees. So we could go all different ways. But when do you purchase this time from POPSHOP by 30-minute intervals?
No, it's free. It's free to be listed. Free to be listed. And then you sell 9% commission when you when somebody buys something.
Okay. All right.
I've got a question for you from Ruth Taylor of Mrs. Ruth's Jam.
Oh yeah.
She's asking about who fulfills the order. If shipping is $5.99 for all, who is paying the delta of the shipping cost?
Yeah, great question, Ruth. So the way that shipping works, customer pays the $5.99, and that works on a USPS 2-day priority. It's a medium-sized box. It typically works up to about 5 pounds. That's what we advise. Anything more than 5 pounds, you're probably going to need more boxes. But with that, we generate the shipping label for you. And so then you would do the fulfillment by printing out that shipping label, putting on the box, putting the items in the box. There is no shipping cost to you. Customer pays that, you get the shipping label, USPS 2-day priority, and away you go. If you have an order that's more than 5 pounds, what I get you to do is just contact support and we'll give you another shipping label so that you can cover that for free. But there's no delta shipping cost, but the fulfillment does sit with you. And we ask that you get those orders out as quickly as possible. So typically if you do a show the next day or the day after, you want to be packing those and getting them out. And then because it's a 2-day shipping, they typically arrive within 3 or 4 days of the show finishing, which is just such a great customer experience because they purchase, via a live stream on a Wednesday and then it's arrived by Monday.
Yeah, is this anywhere in
And
the
it's
United
anywhere in
States?
the US. Yes, anywhere in the US. We have
Including
most of our
Hawaii-
customers.
Hawaii and Alaska?
Yeah, we foot the bill for the extra to get to Hawaii and Alaska. We don't have that many Hawaii and Alaska customers, but
Yeah.
yeah, most of our, just so you know, most of our customers we're California headquarters. So like we really started in California and have a lot of California customers. We also have New York. When we do events, we do see people from every state. Craig, I'm interested if you see most of your orders go to California, but that's definitely what we see is like most of our, I'd say like 40% of our customers are California. But we're growing everywhere. Every time we bring on a seller in Texas, we get more customers come from Texas because they follow that seller. So growing everywhere. And Joe made an interesting point as well about the embedding on the website versus the app. The benefit here is when you go live in the app, we already have thousands of customers in the app. And so you get to benefit from that audience. You don't have to generate your own demand. You don't have to bring your own audience. We encourage you to promote and let people know about us. It really helps us. But you do get to benefit from the fact that we have lots of customers coming in, shopping. They want to see new brands. I think a lot of people treat this as discovery, a way to find out about brands they didn't know about. We're seeing a trend towards people wanting to support small business. They want to be able to shop local. And so it's a really great way to discover lots of different brands.
Yeah. Have you seen with food? I know it's common at farmers markets and other kind of farm related sales where someone will assemble a box of produce or a box of different produce. Is that something that you've experienced or you recommend?
What do you mean by that? Like shopping across shows?
Well, no, let's say that one of our companies comes on POPSHOP and maybe they have 5 or 6 different SKUs, and then they could put several of those into one box. So it's kind of like buying a produce box.
Yes. Yeah, creating bundles or
okay.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
Okay.
We have we have an in-house merchandise advisor, Sybil, and she has she's got great ideas on all of this. The bundles do definitely work. I think people do get joy as well being able to buy things individually because they get to click and get the animation on screen. I think it's why Craig's show, people love it. One, there's so many different SKUs to choose from. You could be there for days looking through the catalog, but they get to push buy so many different times, even on small prices, and they kind of get Craig says, "Oh, thanks, Rachel, for your purchase," and there's it's enjoyable to make a purchase because you get such immediate thanks and feedback. But yeah, bundles work. Different customers want different things, so being able to tailor to them definitely makes sense. It's all, the shipping is, you pay once, so you're already kind of experiencing a bundle because you only have to pay the shipping once.
Right.
But yeah, lots of different, I really like the idea that, Joe and Craig are kind of coming together and stocking each other's products because just more SKUs, more to talk about is definitely a thing, because an hour show does the best, and so having enough to talk about for an hour can help.
Yeah.
I just saw another question.
Yeah.
Does POPSHOP Live work when drop shipping via Shopify? Printful does the printing and shipping. Oh, great question. So we're not able to transfer orders back to Shopify at the moment. So yeah, we don't have the integration you're talking about with Printful, sadly, and the drop shipping option. So we work best if you have the product with you, around you, available, so that you can pack it and put a label on it. I suspect this is something we would like to do in the future. One way that people get around this is you can download a copy of orders from our show. It's very easy. Let me show you. To go to the shows to see the orders, and here you can hit export CSV. So it will download a copy of all the orders. We've had some people then share that CSV with their drop shippers. So here's a good example of the list of all the orders and where they're going. And then we've had some people who will then provide that to their shippers. so that they can then do the shipping if the shipping's offsite.
Yeah, I would think in that case, it's difficult to get that label to that organization.
Yeah, or people email them
Yeah,
because they're digital. So like you'd email that with the CSV.
I got you.
Our labels also have packing slips in them. So with each label, there's a packing slip. So they can provide that to a third party and they can pack and put the label on.
Okay, fantastic. All right. Do you do things like special events or limited time events? Let's say somebody, like our university, we wanted to have a fall promotion. Does something like that work where you have vendors, who are really coming to the show and we make this available to them so that they can reach a larger audience?
Yeah, I think so. So we do have events happening all the time. Dennis, I want to get to a world one day where we have so many brands that you've worked with that we're working together where we can have like an Accelerate Rural event
That's where
under
I'm
that
going.
umbrella. Yeah, we'll get there. So here's an example of some of the events we have coming up. So like a Shop DC launch party, none of these are, are quite relevant here, but our farmers market event typically sits under here. And then what sellers can do is just apply and then they're able to participate in the event. What's nice about events is it puts all of the sellers in one space. So you can see we have this enamel market event. So these are all local pin sellers that create enamel pins. We have about 40 of them who are going to be doing a show this Sunday. Really great way to see an event. There is going to be 8 shows an hour on this Sunday. Many of these sellers will sell more than $10,000 of enamel pins, which is wild, but will happen. And so these are all the shows. People have put up their trailers, and this is typically what an event will look like.
That's really cool. Couple questions for you. This is from Ruth. Do people use USPS boxes like medium flat rate?
Yes,
or
they do.
regional A plus B?
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then from Keisha, do you foresee future development to Android?
Yeah, so currently customers can use iPhone or Android. So we do have Android for customers. As sellers, our seller tools work just on Apple. So if you're a seller doing video, it works just on Apple at the moment. So if you don't have an iPhone, people use iPads. They try and borrow a friend's, just in case you don't have an iOS device. Yeah.
Do you think you'll move to Android for the seller or not?
We would like to build out Android seller tools. I don't know the timeline on it, but we're building new things all the time and trying to improve the platform. We definitely just built seller on iOS to start.
Yeah. Okay. Well, in our class, if anyone needs iOS, I've got an iPhone and an iPad. I'd be happy to lend it. I get free samples though. That's all. Okay.
And
well,
then I should say,
yeah.
If anyone's interested in having more conversations with me or someone in my team, we have a website, join.popshop.live. Feel free to just fill in the form with your name and your store details. Add in the notes that you part of Accelerate Rural and just hit sign up. Someone on my team will call you same day. We'd love to talk to you and answer any questions you have. And then download the app, have a look around. When's Craig's show happening? But there's always something interesting going on in the app, just to give you a sense of what live shopping is like and what it can do. August 13th, the next farmers market.
Yeah, we're on tonight at 7.
Oh, great.
7 Eastern.
There you go. So if you download the app, what you can do is just hit the blue plus sign on his show, and that means you'll get notified when he goes live. So you'll get a push notification, and that's your cue to join the show. And so anyone who follows him will get that notification.
That's cool. Well, I'm psyched, and I hope the class is psyched as well. We listened to your partner Jack yesterday with video that he did for a food group, large specialty food group, and I was really struck by one of his comments where he said we see ourselves kind of like the next Shopify in that you know, we expect lots of people to use this platform, not just, you know, not just a few, but a lot. And I thought that was really good. I think that our group, you know, some of our group use Shopify, some use some others, but I think they can see that this is a trend that's really picking up steam. And it's we're real lucky to have a relationship with you, Rebecca, to figure this out.
And it's very exciting, like all trends, the people who are on it and adopt it early, you know, master it fastest. And so it's very exciting to be able to master something before everyone else works out it's a big thing. Because then by the time it's, you know, mass adopted, you've got all this experience under your belt and you know exactly, you know, how to work with that format. So I'm most excited for people who are already using it. I just saw Patrick asked age demographic. So we find we're pretty split down the middle on male, female. And that's because we have a lot of comic book stores, toy stores, which bring the kind of male audience, but we also have a lot of women's apparel and kind of cute home decor, which we find brings a female audience. Age demographic, we find it's a kind of like a 25 to 35, and then I would say like a 45 to 55. That 45 to 55 we found has particularly come because we have a lot of very exclusive designer toys that collectors, like we get a lot of collectors who've been collecting for a long time. But yeah, so like 25 to 35, 45 to 55 is really our sweet spot at the moment.
So Craig and John, if you guys can hear me, why don't you respond with what you guys see with your customers and like where are they located and can you guess their ages and stuff?
Yes, I agree with Rebecca. A lot of them are California, but we've seen a lot of just throughout the United States as well. We do have one in Hawaii and one in Alaska, which is really cool.
They hate you for that reason.
And the one in Alaska was even saying that's the really cool thing about POPSHOP is I can pay $5.99 and order as much as I want, have it delivered to Alaska, and you know, so it's a great feature. It's a great service that POPSHOP's doing. And as far as demographic, I would think a lot of our customer base would be around the 25 to 35, like Rebecca said, and there's some older ones too, 45 to 55. So that's probably what we've seen as well.
Is that different than your normal market that you guys deal with?
Oh, what was that, Dennis?
Is that a different spread than you normally deal with in your regular website or your regular business?
Question.
Yeah, that's kind of a tough question because about 90% of our business is wholesale to distributors that sell our products at farmers markets and street fairs.
Got it.
And most of those are probably 45 to 65.
Yeah, well, I was thinking, I knew you dealt with farmers markets, and that's kind of the demographic that I see with farmers markets. So that's why I asked that question. But being wholesale it's I understand it's a little bit one step removed.
Right, exactly.
One of the things I think in this group that I think is appealing or should be is reaching that demographic, that 25 to 35 demographic is pretty hard to do for a lot of us. And what I like about POPSHOP is they do have a place where folks in that age group feel comfortable. So I think it is a good way to expand your reach to markets that maybe you otherwise you know, wouldn't be able to reach or very unlikely to reach. I think that's the way to say it. Got a question here from okay, I see. She answered that question for Doug. Okay. Well, do we have any other questions or thoughts on this stuff from the group?
This Joe, I'll make a comment, and this is not coming from a testimonial yet related to POPSHOP, although I hope it to be true, but it's coming more from a place of excitement about from a competitor landscape between POPSHOP and one of their previous competitors that I'm really excited about the idea that the onus of curating an audience is on POPSHOP. I understand that we can still, you know, promote and share, and we still should through our social media channels, whatever, to kind of help put fuel on the fire. But ultimately, it's not just a place to sell, and then you got to somehow come up with an independent ad spend in order to make it work.
Right.
And I'm excited about that. I'm excited about the usability. of it's one app to download that gets you access to everything, to the whole universe versus multiple apps. And just the functionality seems to be more thumb friendly when it comes to, you know, I do scroll up, get the products, tap it, add to your cart, boom, good to go. I would pity Craig and other sellers on there who have to, you know, try to be genuine, entertaining, remember product information, and still somehow manage queuing of products as the audience, up to maybe 50, 100 people are asking all these different questions about this product and that product, and having to switch back and forth and dance on your head. It just, I would think, makes the seller much more comfortable and successful to be able to just focus on product and engagement with the audience. So for all those reasons, I'm super stoked about POPSHOP and see them as superior. So
Yeah, I agree with you. And, you know, my comments yesterday in the class and in general is that, you know, all of us are in this situation where you're trying to figure out how to do e-commerce, and you're told you need to build a Shopify site and you need to do SEO and yada, yada, yada. And realistically, there's so many things that you're doing that really don't reflect who you are or what your brand is about. You know, it's hard to relate the coolness of your brand, you know, in those environments. And as I said, I really believe in POPSHOP Live and this ability to really display your personality, or in my case, lack of it, and tell a story, a brand story. Like in Karen's case, you know, she has this incredible story about her and her husband building their pecan operation in their nursery. It's just an unusual opportunity for all of us to really be who you are, tell the story. You don't have to be all caught up and be an expert in technologies that you don't understand. I really like that aspect of it. And what I'm going to try to do, working with Rebecca, in addition to everything that you all are doing or will do, is to try to create some kind of Accelerate Rural effort that I can get supported by East Carolina University and other institutions to really drive traffic to you guys. So that, you know, I don't know how the hell I'm going to do it, but I'm going to figure out something. And I'm very excited about it.
Hey, Rebecca, I think I heard you say this, about, I'm not sure if you did, but it is on the roadmap for you guys to find some integration opportunities with Shopify to have for those live updates with inventory levels, and I guess pushing to some fulfillment company. Is that true?
Yeah, so we do have a Shopify sync at the moment. It just syncs the product information over so that you don't have to kind of double enter the product inventory information. It does update, let's say you had 10 quantity. If someone buys it on POPSHOP, it will update that to 9 in your Shopify, so you don't oversell. You know, it will like make your online quantity go down so you don't actually accidentally oversell a product. But that's about the extent of the integration. So people are asking for the ability to be able to fulfill using their Shopify fulfillment. And so I can imagine our like next Shopify feature is we want to be able to build the ability for orders to be sent back to Shopify to be fulfilled by Shopify. It's on the roadmap. I don't know if it feels like something in the next 6 months. Once we get more Shopify users asking for it.
And then is it also on the roadmap probably after that, where POPSHOP is maybe looking for partnerships with strategically located fulfillment warehouses, so that ultimately the solution is soup to nuts complete. So that way sellers just have to worry about selling and not also packaging and, you know, fulfilling.
It's a great question.
Joe doesn't ask for much, Rebecca. He isn't asking for much. Here you are with this brand new thing, and he's already in the next generation.
I mean, I'm excited how like you see the same potential we do, right? Which is like, wow, you have someone moving enough product that to have like a central fulfillment where they don't have to do the fulfillment even, and like someone else does fulfillment for POPSHOP. I mean, definitely I want us to get that big. I also have like watched the rise of like Amazon and Amazon fulfillment. So I just like would want to be really thoughtful about how we do that, because I don't know if that was in the best interest of small business. Like, you know, these external fulfillment models did they help or hinder? I'm not sure. So I just want to be thoughtful about that when we do it. But Yeah, we are finding, for example, at large conventions now where we have maybe 50 sellers stream as part of a con, that we're thinking about doing like local, like on-site fulfillment for events, so that all those sellers can just like drop off all their products and then we ship them all out. So we're experimenting with that in a small way. So I can imagine us doing it on a larger scale.
Yeah, and my comments come obviously from my perspective, which I would think would is I think a future larger piece of the pie, which is frozen fulfillment. So like Cherry Orchards and many others, they're like shelf stable products. So it probably makes more sense for them to just to fulfill in-house because they already have the warehousing and everything there. But like Booze Dog specifically, or other brands that are not shelf stable, they're already reliant on warehousing and like third-party fulfillment. So it's not it's not going to create a new impact to some footprint harming small business. It's actually something they're already doing today.
Already doing. Interesting.
And so they just need that end-to-end integration. Otherwise, without it, you're adding more logistical steps in the middle.
Yeah.
It just distracts them from doing what they do best.
Yeah. Yep. It's kind of ways for us to speak better to third-party fulfillment.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
All right. Well, I think
I noticed Patrick raised his hand.
Okay,
Patrick, did you have something just before we go?
Yes, ma'am. Quick question. Have you ever had any like experience where somebody would like use multiple people as salespeople for the company? For example, like we have a partnership with chefs. So is there a way that I could send a chef a link and say, hey, I want you to cook up something, and so that'd be to bring content, so it'd be a change up of spokespeople or salespeople?
Yes, great question. Yes, we do. So anyone can host on your channel for you if you give them access. And that works with chefs. I'm trying to think of a good example. We've had it with different people with skincare, like they've sent it to a different person to do a skincare routine. As long as that person is like knowledgeable about the product and can speak authentically about it, we find it does well. Authenticity is key here. Someone who like really knows the product, knows, like cares about it, you know, is like joyful when they talk about it. As long as I've got that, yeah.
Hey, Patrick, something I've been learning on that space, and I'd love to have your ideas because I'm kind of in the same position. I just don't have, for a lot of reasons, the ability to be on air myself as a seller. And so I've been thinking about this.
Thank God is all I can say.
I know. And so what I used on Comments Sold for a little bit was influencers who would rep my product. They would cook, they'd be the on-air voice and personality. And from a content standpoint, it worked very well. For all the challenges I said earlier, it did not work very well, which is why I'm very interested in POPSHOP. But not knowing anything about your business, the downside to that is like my business, Booze Dogs, we don't have 200 SKUs like Cherry Orchard, right? So to keep the show varied and interesting, other than the different food applications, where I'm going is until I can get to a place where I can have 50, 80, 100 SKUs one day, I'm trying to partner with someone like, for instance, Cherry Orchard, and being one of their mini SKUs. So maybe it's not a show every week about my product, but Cherry Orchard would feature my product here and there as it makes sense for them. And then maybe one day finding an influencer who reps multiple brands. So in the meat business, and maybe Booze Dogs for the meat, but they also rep, steak knives, or they rep grills, and they have rubs and other types of spices. So in that show, it's really that influencer's channel, and they're showing your brand as one of the 5, 10, 15 brands that they advertise, just so it helps keep that show interesting and different. I don't know if I have the confidence yet that a channel solely focused on my brand with few SKUs is gonna be successful long term, because after 4, 5, 10 shows, maybe folks get bored with it. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Patrick. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, we have I'm only 24 hours into this, so I've got a lot of questions.
You can reach out to me too, Patrick. You can reach out to me as well.
Okay, because I have I have a daughter at Auburn, and so that's where I was also questioning you. You mentioned somebody that knows knows and excited. Well, like she's young, has time on her hands, and so because that's where I'm wondering from a time perspective, do I have time to just be airing for an hour? And so that is of a concern. About how many times a week should somebody be having live shows?
Yeah, great question. That one I can take quickly. So we have the farmers market twice a month, and I highly recommend starting with that. Craig's seen success, and so now goes weekly, sometimes twice a week. And that really works for people. Creating a regular time and space so people know when they can come and watch your show. Start with the farmers market. That'll be a great way to introduce yourself to the community. Okay. I love your comment about your daughter. One of the reasons I'm so bullish on live shopping is that we've got this generation coming behind us that have just grown up on phones and camera. Like, they are not shy. Like, TikTok has made the next generation not shy about being in front of a camera at all. We just have an entire generation of hosts. And what I'm finding with small business owners is you have the owner of the store, and then they have their shop assistants, and they're 25 and love being in front of the camera, and they see this as like a promotion or an opportunity for them to use their talent. So you've got the fact that people want community and want to talk to someone more than ever, and this whole generation of people who are really comfortable in front of the camera. Just combine those two things, and I don't see how live shopping is not how we're all shopping in 5 or 10 years. That's what gets me really excited.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes, ma'am. So thank you.
Of course.
Well, I think I'm going to wrap it up. I do have one quick question for you, Rebecca. Have you seen any NCAA athletes setting up shows and selling stuff? I don't know if you're familiar, but the NCAA just passed a rule that allows college athletes to basically go into business. I'm curious if you've seen any of that on your platform.
Interesting. Not NCAA. We have a partnership with a large California basketball player coming in 2 weeks. He's going to start hosting a show and selling product. So we are seeing sports people come in, get involved. Again, as long as it's authentic, he can talk about things to do with sport, and so that's what we're getting him to do. He speaks very authentically about that.
Sure.
Yeah, I think more and more we'll see more like celebrity personalities get involved in live shopping, I'm sure. For now, honestly, our customers love meeting the owners and the people who've created it and are behind it. We definitely see that honestly be more successful than an influencer or a celebrity. That's why the authenticity, I think, really matters. It's that trend towards small business and, a real person. And, I think we're craving, real people. That's what we see.
You found us. We're real. We're real.
Exactly.
Well,
Rebecca, thank you so much, everyone. Such a delight to meet you all, talk to you all, hear your questions.
Yeah, you have been fantastic. We really appreciate it. And I know there'll be a lot more questions. So I'll put Rebecca's contact information in the chat or our Facebook group. If any of you have questions, I know some of it. If I don't know it, I'll reach out to Rebecca or her team. And I want everyone to really give serious thought to going live on this platform really soon so that you're ready for the holiday season. I think this is something that you need to do, and I want to help you do it. Okay. All right. Well, thanks, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow we have Andy Kurtz from Buttermilk Creative, one of the top CPG packaging guys in the country. Rebecca, you're welcome to listen in if you'd like.
Very cool. Yeah.
He's a great guy. He's one of my good friends, and I used him when I had a brand. He's just unbelievable. So I think tomorrow is going to be real exciting for the group. So once again, Rebecca, thank you very much. And signing off to tomorrow, everybody. See you later.
Thanks, Rebecca. Thanks, Dennis.
Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you, Dennis.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.